Good afternoon and thanks for joining us on Nationwide on the network service of the NTA. I'm Hawa Salihu Adama. We start with the judiciary today, where President Muhammadu Buhari has approved the appointment of Honorable Justice Dongban Memsem as the acting president of the Court of Appeal for an initial period of 3 months with effect from March 6, 2020, when the incumbent president of the Court of Appeal, Honorable Justice Zainab Bulkachua, would statutorily retire from service. A statement by the Senior Special Assistant to the President on Media and Publicity says Justice Memsem is the next most senior judge of the Court of Appeal and will be acting pending when a substantive appointment to the position of the President of the Court of Appeal is made by President Buhari, subject to the confirmation of the Senate. The President's approval of the appointment of Justice Memsem follows the recommendation of the Chief Justice of Nigeria in line with the provisions of Section 238, subsection 4 and 5 of the 1999 Constitution as amended. To the legislature now, where the Senate has approved $22.79 billion as the 2016 to 2018 federal government external borrowing plan. The loan request transmitted to the National Assembly by President Muhammadu Buhari on November 17, 2019 is basically to fund projects in critical sectors of the economy, including mining, power, transportation, works, housing and social development. The report of the Senate Committee on Local and Foreign Debts, which met with 13 federal ministries and some departments and agencies of government, explained that the loan will close infrastructural deficit and also make Nigeria a media hub for Africa through the digitization of the Nigerian Television Authority. The Senate also approved the 2020 budget of the Niger Delta Development Commission of 340 billion naira, of which 306 billion was allocated to development projects. Meanwhile, the House of Representatives has passed a resolution to investigate alleged $30 billion annual revenue leakage from various malpractices in allocating foreign exchange to companies by the Central Bank of Nigeria and other sources. Following a motion of urgent public importance from Representative James Faleke, House members expressed concern over diversion of forex, tax evasion and other malpractices being perpetrated by public and private entities. House committees on finance and banking and currency were mandated to carry out the investigation. Also to be investigated by the House are alleged extortion, passport racketeering and corrupt practices by the Nigeria Immigration Services as moved by Representative Chinedu Oga. To other matters now, in line with federal government's response mechanism to contain the spread of COVID-19, environmental health officers have been provided guidelines to ensure adherence to standard procedures in their operations. Let's now join Onengie Fanface for the details.
COVID-19 outbreak has given rise to leverage the services provided by environmental health workers to increase surveillance of high-risk areas as part of measures initiated by the Ministry of Environment to contain spread of the virus.
Government is committed to improving the state of the environment because most of the disease burden of the country hinge on low or poor standards of our environment.
Consequently, a guideline to ensure safe and effective operations has been provided for environmental health officers.
It's not only Lassa fever or coronavirus. We are faced with a lot of challenges of emerging and emerging diseases. So the environmental health workforce are ever ready.
For the environmental health officer in the field who have been going about walking as if like a sheep without a guide. Today there is a shepherd given to us.
In addition to surveillance, practitioners can now verify data and produce reports to facilitate management of COVID-19 and other diseases associated with the environment. In Abuja, Onengiye Fineface, NTA News.
In the meantime, the coronavirus, with its dramatic effects in morbidity and mortality, is currently driving a conversation on infectious diseases and the attendant psychological distress on communities. Fear and anxiety are often major indicators of how people react to news and outbreak of deadly infectious diseases. Public health care administrators therefore describe rising apprehension across the country, despite assurances from the authorities as behavior consistent with such social situation. Dr. John Oladejo joins us via telephone now. He was in charge of coordination and logistics for the Ebola response in Nigeria in 2014, and he is currently the National Incident Manager for the COVID-19 response. Good afternoon to you, Dr. Oladejo.
Good afternoon. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for joining us. Based on your experience in the management of deadly infectious diseases, take us through what it is like what is likely ringing in the heads of those directly managing the coronavirus index patients in Lagos and other patients being tested.
Thank you very much. So when you talk about a highly pathogenic infection like Ebola and the one we are having now, COVID-19, it's a very highly pathogenic infection, especially Ebola. And at that particular time, we don't really have the experience of what we have now. So that period, we were actually panicking. We don't really know how we're going to go about it until when we just started, and then we were gradually doing it. But this time around, we are fully equipped, because at that time, the National Center for Disease Control was just evolving. But now, we have been established by an act, and we have highly skilled experts as our Director General. So we have actually put in place preparedness in such a way that we have what we call technical working group that have been working day and night to prepare for any eventuality. Actually, we are preparing for early prevention. But now that this one came in suddenly, we have started working, and we are actually winning.
Okay,
So
can you compare and contrast the initial public reactions to the Ebola and the coronavirus, and ideally, how should Nigerians handle themselves?
Yes, for Ebola that time, everybody was in a state of panicking. They don't really know what to do. They don't really know how to do it. But this coronavirus COVID-19, we were highly prepared because we knew it was coming. So there was a lot of jingles, there was a lot of information given, about the effect of this virus. So when it came, we were just telling them they should not be fearing, they should not panicking, they should listen to experts. And we have been disseminating our information from the national level to the grassroots level. So what was ringing in the mind of the health workers and the patient that time was far different from what they are thinking now. That time they were not sure whether they will be they will survive or they will be safe from this disease. But this time around, we have enough PPE, and we have prepared their mind psychologically, emotionally before this illness case entered into the country. So this time around, they were rest assured that they will not contact it, because they have been fully protected.
And you just mentioned the fact that you've been prepared for it. I know this is a novel, it's new, and I'm just wondering, what makes this one different from the previous ones?
Oh, what makes one the one is because it's new, it's novel. We don't really know every information about it when it first started. Unlike the other one that we have known, the sequencing, we have known everything about the epidemiology, we have known about the case management system. This one was quite different. So the scientists are just walking around the clock to ensure that they unravel most of this mystery. So that is just
Dr. Oladejo, what will be your final word?
My final word is just to tell those people that are actually spreading fake news to stop doing that. And we should not allow individuals to be sharing them. All what they need to do is that for this particular disease, they should practice hand hygiene as well as respiratory hygiene. What I mean by that is that they should continue to wash their hands anytime they go to the toilet or whenever they know that they have touched something that they believe is contaminated.
Thank you very much, Dr. John Oladejo. That will be all for now. We appreciate your contribution.
Okay, thank you.
And moving on, the management of the Sam Mbakwe International Cargo Airport, Owerri, has assured that there is no cause for alarm as more measures are being put in place to ensure the safety of passengers in the face of the coronavirus outbreak. NTA News visited the airport for a situation report. Over now to Kingsley Ononiu.
A visit to the Sam Mbakwe International Cargo Airport, Owerri, reveals that the management is not leaving anything to chance towards ensuring the prevention of infection through their facility. Already, the entry and exit points have been provided with facilities for hand washing as well as sanitizer.
We have been monitoring all the people to see so that we can dictate any person that has this illness. Sam Mbakwe Airport is so sensitive that it's covering Enugu, Imo, Abia, and Anambra, and that's why we are very serious about it.
The airport manager, Rejoice Ndudinachi, says the management has organized pre-training for staff at the establishment on effective handling of passengers, but stressed the need for compliance with ground rules.
They should not be afraid. We've already put measures on ground. People can travel, but people should avoid crowded areas. So we're actually trying to make sure we don't have long queues here.
In Owerri, Kingsley Ononiu, NTA News.
The Benue State Executive Council has approved the sum of 10 million naira for the prevention of the coronavirus in the state and also expanded the membership of the State Emergency Response Committee. Commissioner for Information, Culture and Tourism, Gunan Adingi, said this while briefing newsmen at the end of the State Executive Council meeting in Makurdi. Over now to Ben Hanya.
The Benue State Executive Council's decision to expand the membership of the Emergency Response Committee on Coronavirus in Benue State, as well as the release of 10 million naira, is to increase awareness and buy medical protective equipment to help the prevention of the disease. The council also earmarked the Public Health Center, Agan, as an isolation center in case of an outbreak in Benue State. Approval was also given for the steering committee for the increase of livestock production, maize and cowpea.
If there is a need for cases that are severe, more PHCs will be allotted. But for now, that's the level of preparedness and that's what government is doing. And funds have also been released to that effect.
2 road contracts were terminated. They are the Sankara Chito Vasi 41.92 kilometer road awarded at 4.8 billion naira since 2012 and Daudu Bajimba Road awarded to Hajar Construction Company since 2006. In Makurdi, Bem Hanya, NTA News.
It's nationwide on the network service of the NTA. We take some messages now. When we return, more reports.
Coming on April 2nd, 2020, in the capital city of Abuja, the Ivory 8 Ball, a life-saving fundraising event featuring music and arts in aid of skin cancer patients with albinism. For participation and sponsorship, call Edidiong on 070 197-733-52 or Chinwe on 090-559-61514. This event is powered by Nigerian Television Authority, TV Enterprises, Federal Radio Corporation of Nigeria, FRCN, African Independent Television, and Ray Power FM, Silverbird Television, and Rhythm FM, the Albino Foundation, the Ivory 8 Ball, for a worthy cause. Watch out.
My name's Mr. Muftau Abiodun Balogun. We started this business 4 years ago, and this is the production outlet where we do about 4,000 to 5,000 birds per day. With the closure of the border recently, we've been experiencing massive surge in demand. Our sales per day now is going to be between 15 to 20,000 birds. We needed to expand all avenues because of the multiplier effect it's creating. And the most interesting thing about this closure is that many of my farmers today are farmers we recruited recently, and they are young graduates. What the government is doing will lead us right. And I can tell you, if the government sustains this thing, sky will not even be our limit.
Engineering skills and technology define the quality of television transmission output. Training and retraining of appropriate personnel on the management of modern equipment is therefore a key competition strategy in the dynamic television industry. NTA TV College, Jos, invites relevant desk officers to special engineering courses as follows. 1 week course on audio engineering, operations and maintenance, date 20th to 24th April 2020. 1 week intensive course on electrical power, earthing, lighting, uninterrupted power supply UPS, inverter and solar system, date 1st to 5th June 2020. 1 week intensive course on studio broadcast equipment and outside broadcast operation. Date 15th to 19th June 2020. 1 week course on new technologies, optical fiber, IP technologies, automation storage and wireless technology. Date 10th to 14th August 2020. The venue for all courses is NTA Television College near Old Government House, Rayfield, Jos. Course fee 40,000 naira per participant. Accommodation inclusive. For more inquiries, please call 0803-314-4383 or 0806-980-9807. NTA TV College, Jos. Training you to be the best you want to be.
COVID-19 transmission is mostly through droplets from sneezing and saliva. The most effective way to protect yourself from the virus is to practice good personal hygiene. Wash hands with soap under running water or use an alcohol-based sanitizer if water is not available. Maintain at least 2 meters distance between yourself and anyone who is coughing or sneezing. Cover your mouth and nose with your elbow or tissue when you cough or sneeze. Dispose of the used tissue immediately. If you have traveled recently to a country with COVID-19 outbreak in the last 14 days and you have a fever, cough, or breathing difficulty, call NCDC toll-free numbers before going to the hospital. This message is from the National Orientation Agency.
Thanks for rejoining us. Our Lagos Network Center is next on our lineup, and Dotun is our guide. Hello, Dotun. You're on.
Thank you, Awa, for joining us in Lagos. The cooperation of citizens, especially in information sharing and maintaining personal and environmental hygiene, will help government better manage the coronavirus situation. This is coming from the Lagos State Deputy Governor, Obafemi Hamzat, during an enlightenment program on the management and control of coronavirus in Lagos. Joyken Ababoya has the details.
Since the index case of coronavirus was identified in February, Lagos State and the federal government have been working non-stop to ensure the virus does not spread. And so far, this is being achieved. from the provision of containment and management facilities, tracking of persons who had contact with the index case, to massive public enlightenment. This stakeholders forum is for traditional rulers, community leaders, market heads, and educationists and other residents to learn how to stay safe until the virus is effectively contained.
The coronavirus that is ravaging the world today is not a death sentence as long as detected cases are reported early.
We are going to be relying on you for information. We're going to be relying on you to perform good personal hygiene.
Participants appealed to government to improve its environmental safety measures and focus more attention on schools.
We should return this environmental sanitation period. Perhaps just 1 hour instead of these 3 long hours. When we see Lagosians, we'll be talking of Hausa, Igbo, Yoruba, Pidgin English, and so on. So if they can use those medium to educate people, it will be more better and the awareness will go very well.
The Lagos State government is using this forum to mobilize leaders of various sectors to sensitize the masses on the need to imbibe habits that will protect more people from being infected with coronavirus. In Lagos, Joy Ken Abakbuya, NTA News.
Away from health, the goal of ending piracy in the Nigerian waterways and the Gulf of Guinea is receiving legislative push as the House Committee on Maritime Safety, Education and Administration has promised legislative backing to ensure the full operation of the nation's integrated maritime security and surveillance infrastructure. The committee members were on oversight to critical maritime facilities in Lagos. Michael Olale reports.
These 2 vessels are suspected of carrying out an illegal STL.
This is the C4I Operational Center, the eye of the Deep Blue project and an integral part of efficient surveillance of the nation's maritime space. It is part of a comprehensive maritime architecture, raising the hope of players in the industry that the era of piracy, oil bunkering and illegal fishing, draining more than $2 billion from the nation's coffers, will soon be a thing of the past. This high expectation informed the visit of the House Committee on Maritime Safety, Education and Administration to this facility and other crucial maritime security outposts with the aim of strengthening legislation that will ensure their prompt utilization.
You want to go to the sea and fight? No, this is the way we're going to fight it. And so we're putting all the measures in place, and we just have to make sure, like I said, that we get it done right and that we complete it and not have it be like an inchoate sort of project that's just never ending.
To the Nigerian Maritime Administration and Safety Agency, NIMASA, this oversight visit is timely as it will go a long way at boosting its quest of promoting indigenous capacity in the shipping industry and ensure the goal of placing the country at the apex of maritime security.
We are very focused on tackling our greatest challenge. That greatest challenge is piracy and maritime crime. And in other areas, you know that our record speaks for itself. Today, the world acknowledges that in West and Central Africa, we're number 1 in post-state control. The
committee, which also visited Navy Town Kirikiri, is now informed on areas of intervention that will be of assistance to the maritime domain. In Lagos, Michael Olale, NT News.
The unity of the nation lies in the peaceful coexistence of the various tribes and promotion of the rule of law and social justice. This was the crux of a memorial lecture in honor of late President of the Oduas People's Congress, OPC, Frederick Fashion, to mark 25 years of the association in Lagos. George Gift reports that former President Olusegun Obasanjo was keynote speaker at the event.
For 25 years, the Odua People's Congress, OPC, a non-partisan socio-economic and cultural group, has been advocating for social justice and the rule of law. The ideals and values of its founding fathers is to unite various ethnic groups, rekindle the hope of nationhood, common national identity, and also engrave the deep sense of patriotism among Nigerians.
A vision of having a united Nigeria where tribe, religion does not play any part in who you become in the nation.
I believe in Nigeria. Nigeria cannot break because OPC is not what we are seeing. The perception of the society.
In a keynote address, former Nigerian President Chief Olusegun Obasanjo advised the members to shun all forms of violent acts that could tarnish the image of the Yoruba race, urging them to pursue values that could promote national unity and development.
Fashion is somebody to be honored. Fashion is somebody to be respected. Fashion was an icon when he was alive.
Other speakers at the event described the late OPC leader Frederick Fashion as a true Democrat who fought for true federalism.
And I think it's a message for us today, 25 years after, in terms of even our democracy. It's a realization of your culture, it's a realization of your values.
We continue to promote peace, promote educational and economic advancement, and protect unity that matters for all.
There were several cultural displays from various ethnic nationalities in honor of the late OPC leader, Dr. Frederick Fashion, and to celebrate the 25 years of existence of the Odua People's Congress. In Lagos, Gift George, NTA News.
And that report ends our contribution from Lagos. Nationwide continues with Hour in Abuja.
Sure, Dotun. And now to security matters. The federal government says it has embarked on some initiatives to support the Nigerian armed forces in capacity building. The Minister of Defense, Bashir Magashi, said this at the 2020 National Policy Development Summit in Abuja, where he reeled out some of the achievements of the federal government in the fight against insurgency.
It is worth to note that we have reactivated and also procure quite a number of mines-resistant ambush protectors, which we call AMRAs, and the attack and helicopters, as well as fighter intelligence surveillance recognizing aircraft. These are already been inducted into the services and are currently responding to operational demands.
The minister also added that the federal government is not resting on its oars until insurgents and criminal networks are defeated. Still staying with the military, no rehabilitated terrorist is being recruited into the Nigerian military. This is contained in a message by the Chief of the Defense Staff, General Abayomi Olonishaki, to the stakeholders meeting for the release of rehabilitated Boko Haram members in Abuja. Defense correspondent Ismail Musa has more.
The Nigerian military has now been engaged in counter-insurgency operations in the northeast for over a decade, with recorded successes. What continues to make headlines is the fallout of the fight and its impact on socio-economic development in affected areas. To complement ongoing military operations being prosecuted through the theater of war, a non-kinetic, multi-agency and humanitarian program, Operation Safe Corridor, was introduced in 2015.
President Muhammadu Buhari established Operation Safe Corridor to create avenue for willing and repentant Boko Haram fighters to surrender and go through a well-structured de-radicalization and rehabilitation program.
The program that admits low-risk repentant Boko Haram members involves intensive profiling, counseling, and skill acquisition program has so far received 893 clients, comprising 874 adults and 19 minors. 280 rehabilitated clients, including 2 Chadians, have been transferred to their respective national and state authorities.
There has also been fears that products of the Operation Safe Corridor are being recruited into the military and paramilitary organizations. I wish to categorically refute this claim and assure Nigerians that none of the clients rehabilitated from the Operation Safe Corridor scheme has been recruited into the Nigerian military or any sister security agencies as stringent measures are put in place to prevent any such things from happening.
The task before this platform is to design a modality for the smooth transfer of 606 clients that are due to complete their de-radicalization, rehabilitation, and reintegration program in June this year.
And Kemi is on standby in our Ibadan Network Center for more reports. Hello, Kemi.
Hawa, and a warm welcome to Ibadan. The Oyo State Security Network Bill 2020, popularly referred to as Amotekun Bill, has been passed into law. Correspondent Dayo Gushola reports that the passage was not just speedy and smooth, but also dramatic, as legislators appeared in leopard skin uniforms.
The arrival of the lawmakers into the Alo chamber was a departure from the usual norm. Each of the lawmakers made their way in with attires similar to color of the leopard. The sergeant-at-arms and civil servants in the House of Assembly were not left out. After the report of the public hearing held on the bill was presented by the Chairman House Committee on Security, the House constituted itself into the Committee of All for clause-by-clause consideration of the bill. The bill was later read for the third time and passed into law.
I'm very optimistic that the Southwest and Oyo State are on the path for rapid, fast development. As you can see, we have vehicles, and we are even going to purchase even more vehicles in order to support them.
The excitement among the lawmakers after the successful passage of the 2020 Oyo State Security Network Bill is impressive. Now left to be seen is the impact of this bill and the call on the security of lives and properties in Ibadan. Dayo Gushola, NTA News.
Following the index case of COVID-19 in Nigeria, the Kwara State government is intensifying efforts at preventing an outbreak of the disease in the state. To this end, an isolation center is to be opened at the Sobi Specialist Hospital, Ilorin. Aisha Abubakar Yahya also monitored activities at the Ilorin International Airport.
This is an isolation center being put in place by the Kwara State government. Although work is still in progress, when completed, it could accommodate over 100 patients. The state government has also adopted a multi-sectoral approach to prevent any outbreak of the disease.
We mobilize our people to go to different parks, motor parks, to sensitize the drivers and to sensitize the passengers on the symptoms of coronavirus and what you should do in case they suspect anybody.
At the Ilorin International Airport, thorough screening of passengers coming in and out of the airport is in place, while various precautionary measures are also being adopted to prevent the coronavirus.
Being the gateway to Kwara State, and we are putting everything that is required to prevent the outbreak of coronavirus in Ilorin Airport.
Usually when I travel, I try to take precautions. We're not touching anything all the time. But the most important thing is that they said we should always wash our hands.
Medical experts are insisting that maintaining clean and healthy environment go a long way to prevent coronavirus outbreak in Kwara State. Aisha Abubakar Yahya, NTA News.
And in the meantime, residents of Ijebu-Ode have been advised on how best to live a healthy lifestyle and avoid contact with the coronavirus and its spread. Correspondent Joel Popola has the report.
Nigeria is the latest country to record a case of coronavirus, with the Italian expatriate who tested positive to the virus. Since the news broke out, the federal government's effort has been in top gear to curtail further spread of the virus through massive public enlightenment. The virus can be contacted through human contact, hair transmission, and touching of contaminated objects. Some of its symptoms are fever, muscle pain, headache, cough, difficulty in breathing, among others.
It's more of an hygiene thing. We have to be more careful and think about our heads, what we should do and what we should not do.
How prepared is Ogun State government in combating the disease?
The government of Prince Akwabedo is perfectly in control. Everything has been put in place to ensure that there's no crisis in Ogun State at all.
Nigerians are advised to improve personal hygiene and seek medical care early enough to ascertain their status. In Ijebu-Ode, Joel Popola, NTA News.
And that's it from Ibadan. Nationwide continues with Hawa in Abuja.
Very well, Kemi, and we are now done with judicial matters as the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission has arraigned One Charles Abonyi, an auditor with the Pension Transition Arrangement Directorate, for his alleged involvement in a pension fraud. Olabode Arewa reports that Abonyi was arraigned before an FCT High Court in Wuse on a 4-count charge.
The issue arose when one Tabitha Friday, a pensioner's next of kin, filed a complaint before the EFCC that Charles Abonyi allegedly collected 30,000 naira from her to process the pension benefits of her father, Felix Moka. The incident, which allegedly occurred sometime in March 2016, is contrary to Section 8, Subsection 1 of the ICPC Act of 2016. The prosecution counsel, Sunday Roberts, informed the court of his readiness to tender evidence to prove the allegation of fraud against the defendants. Counsel to the defendant, Samuel Ajayi, prayed the court to allow his client to continue enjoying the administrative bail earlier granted to him by the FCC, while the defendant prepares for defense. Justice Ajoke Adepoju granted the prayer and adjourned the matter to the 2nd of April 2020 for commencement of trial. In Abuja, Olabode Arewa, NTA News.
Justice Williams Olamide of the Ondo State High Court has sentenced a 32-year-old man, Akinola Michael, to life imprisonment after finding him guilty of kidnapping a middle-aged widow, Mrs. Ehizoge Adeyeye. Olajide Bello reports.
In his judgment, Justice Williams Olamide held that both the testimonies of the prosecution witnesses and Michael's confessional statement to the police indicted him, saying the prosecution had also proved the case of kidnapping against him beyond reasonable doubt. Justice Olamide maintained that the court has no other option than to sentence the accused to life imprisonment.
This will serve as a deterrent to all those who have that are criminal-minded in the state, that they don't have a resting place in Ondo State. Akinola has now been sentenced to life imprisonment for participating in kidnapping of one Adeyeye in the year 2015.
The convict, Akinola Michael, and 3 others who were still at large kidnapped Mrs. Ehizoge Adeyeye at her residence after she returned from a year remembrance service of her late husband, demanding 2 million naira as ransom before the police arrested him in 2015. Olajide Bello, NTA News.
And still staying with the judiciary, the retiring president of the Court of Appeal, Justice Zainab Adamu Bolkachua, has called for greater attention to be paid across the country to the education and empowerment of the girl child and women generally. She made a call at the special valedictory court session held to mark her exit as the president of the Court of Appeal. Judiciary correspondent Femi Okewu has more.
The attendance at the special valedictory court session for the retiring president of the Court of Appeal showed the effect of the service which Justice Zainab Bolkachua has offered Nigeria in her 43 years in the judiciary. Going from the Vice President of Nigeria, Professor Yemi Oshibajo, the Chief Justice of Nigeria, and 2 retired Chief Justices of Nigeria, 8 governors, 3 former governors, Supreme Court and Court of Appeal justices, and tens of other personalities in the bar and bench. This therefore set the stage for her to speak on the area most dear to her now as she goes into retirement.
I go away with good cheers, and I pray that the Almighty Allah answers our prayers and grant us the will to build a nation where peace and justice shall reign.
Other key speakers who represented the legal community appraised Justice Zainab Bolkachua's tenure, saying it has been a blessing to Nigeria.
Honorable Justice Zainab Bolkachua has remained one of the best legal luminaries that this nation can boast of in our present day and legal chronicle.
She can listen patiently, answer wisely, consider soberly, and decide impatiently.
The NBA therefore calls for the immediate appointment of additional justices of the Court of Appeal.
If the success of Justice Zainab Bukachua's tenure as President of the Court of Appeal and as a judicial officer were to be judged by the attendance at her valedictory court session, then one could easily come to the conclusion that she did not just end as a formidable judicial officer, but also touched the lives of various people in the process. From the Court of Appeal, Femi Okeowo, NTA News.
Thank you, Femi. And activities have been put on hold at the All Progressives Congress National Secretariat following a Federal Capital Territory High Court order that stopped Adams Oshiomhole from parading himself as the national chairman of the APC. Correspondent Saliu Abdullahi reports that 24 hours after the judgment, the Secretariat is under lock and key. As at the time he visited the party's headquarters in Abuja, staff were seen in groups outside the Secretariat building discussing the new development. Acting National Secretary of the party, Victor Giadom, was subjected to a moment of interrogation before he was allowed inside, but his efforts to make way for other staff were unsuccessful. It would be recalled that Acting National Secretary, while reacting to the court ruling, assured that the party's National Working Committee will meet on the current development. For now, the staff may have to wait for the decision outside while the security operatives maintain the lockdown. And Diba Barry is next in our Port Harcourt Network Center. It's your turn.
Hello, Hawa, and welcome to Port Harcourt. Rivers State Governor Nyesom Wike has sworn in 9 new commissioners to aid in the administration of the state. Ogediepo reports that they were warned against ethnic and tribal sentiments.
Governor Wike charged the new commissioners to serve the interests of the state and not their respective ethnic nationalities. He stressed that the appointment is not a political compensation, but a call to diligent service to the state.
Let everybody hear it and hear it clearly. If you want to be an ethnic jingoist, please, as you live here now, write that he thought that this is a place where you can play an ethnic card. So since it is not a place, I don't think you can serve again. It will help us.
The governor said the membership of the Rivers State Executive Council is basically to enhance the development of the state. He said his administration is committed to doing that while urging the new commissioners to carry their people along in the discharge of their responsibilities. Some of them speak.
I'll be diligent in my responsibilities and do my best to see that we can advance the program of the government.
If you know your boss is a workaholic, hardworking, you will also catch up with his pace.
In Port Harcourt, Ogediepo, NTA News.
In a bid to ensure seamless and convenient processing of rice with maximum output, the Cross River State Government is building an ultra-modern vitaminized rice mill in Ogoja. Paul Abel reports that Governor Ben Ayade is appealing to Nigerians to utilize the opportunity and key into rice farming due to its enormous benefits.
The ultra-modern rice mill built by Governor Ben Ayade is considered the biggest in Nigeria, with a storage capacity of over 6,500 metric tons. The project, which is in its advanced stage of completion, with the construction of a 37 meters high elevator, 3,000 by 2 ton silos, will produce varieties of rice, create job opportunities for over 20,000 people in order to meet the intended work shift designed for the factory. It will also improve revenue generation for farmers and Cross River State's economy.
We have a milling line, we have the rice pounder section, and most importantly, we have a rice flour section that is also in. So the broken ones, which constitutes about 2% of it, will go into the rice pounder, and there also we vitaminize it. So we put some growth factors and growth hormones to support little kids to grow up. So I think this is completely digital. This is the way to go.
When fully operational, the difficulties experienced in rice processing will be a thing of the past, as rice production will witness a boom in the entire value chain. In Calabar, Paul Abel, NTA News.
A truck loaded with stolen transformers and other electrical installations have been intercepted by the men of the Nigerian Security and Civil Defense Corps in Port Harcourt, Rivers State. Robinson Dertide reports on these and other achievements of the NSCDC in the last 1 month in the state.
The long truck was intercepted along the line in Port Harcourt, loaded with 5 step-down transformers, one 200 kVA transformer, and 13 drums of transformer oil. Others are rolls of cables, bags of bolts, and fiber ladders used for vandalization. The command equally arrested a long truck conveying suspected crude oil at Igbeche and a pickup van loaded with suspected refined AGO stocked in cellophane bags at Elele. A total of 10 suspects were paraded in connection with the crimes.
Those who are involved, they should please desist from tampering with government critical national asset and infrastructures. Nigerian Security and Civil Defense Corps, we have the powers to arrest, detain, investigate and institute legal proceedings against anybody who is reasonably suspected to must have committed any offense under our act.
The Commandant Lawal Mukhtar appealed to the public to continue to support the command in its effort to protect the nation's critical infrastructures. In Port Harcourt, Robinson Dertide, NTA News.
And as our contribution from Port Harcourt nationwide, we continue with Hawa in Abuja right after the break. Good evening.
We have 30,364 individual, 6,437 household.
Boko Haram ya koro mu daga garinmu wanda ake cewa Doron Baga.
The government has done a lot of things. Some corporate bodies have also done a lot of things, but there's still a lot to be done.
Not so fast. Look, I'm tired. I want to check out of this country for greener pastures.
Just calm down for a moment. Please sit down. Do you have a job where you're going to?
No, but someone is arranging,
Listen, Linko. Checking out of this country without proper planning means one thing. Unimaginable begin. You know, I've been in the diaspora, but legitimately doing great things at home and abroad. As I've been saying, without the proper footing abroad, the risk is not worth it. Listen, Alinko, it's better to be home than be trapped abroad or even end up in prison.
Lassa fever occurs when a person gets bitten by a rat carrying the Lassa virus. It is also contacted through the consumption of foods that have been contaminated by either the saliva, urine, or excreta of the rats. Lassa fever is deadly, so protect yourself and loved ones from it. Keep rats away from your homes. Ensure that leftover foods are properly covered at night and heat up properly before consumption. Wash fruits properly before you eat. Maintain regular hand wash with soap and water, as well as environmental sanitation. Report all feverish conditions and bleeding from the nose or mouth to the health facility nearest to you, and don't indulge in self-medication. This message is from the Nigerian Television Authority, the NTA.
Thanks for rejoining us. It's Nationwide. Truth and transparency in practice of the legal profession, practitioners say, is key to making justice run its course and serve as the last hope of the common man. Legal practitioners and NTA's Good Morning Nigeria stated these while discussing the subject, lawyers and the dispensation of justice. Olusheye Adeagbo has more.
That you are a lawyer, you are supposed to cement justice to all, not only to your client, and that is where, if a client briefs you, you tell him the position of his case, the weakness or strength of his case. The moment you don't do so, you are not only cheating that man, you are cheating your conscience.
Yunus Stars Usman, a senior advocate of Nigeria, frowning against unprofessional conduct of some lawyers, which he says is hampering speedy dispensation of justice in Nigeria. Other legal practitioners on the program also blamed the slow pace of administration of justice in Nigerian courts to failure on the part of principal actors not playing their roles. They are of the opinion that lawyers need to be truthful with their clients in giving the right and needed information to the bench for speedy dispensation of justice. On laws guiding electoral process, there were divergent views, with a call to politicians to always obey the set rules, as this will help safeguard Nigeria's democracy.
But is it thinking among politicians that if, for example, you score 10% of the total number of votes cast in an election and you accept it, it means you have accepted you are not popular. So they go to court. As one politician told me, it's also a way of keeping your matter alive so that the people will know that you are still interested in the office.
That third option we are failing to apply is the problem.
Which option?
And the option is, why don't you order fresh elections so that the true will of the people in terms of majority would be expressed?
While agreeing on the role of lawyers to be very critical in Nigeria's judicial system, the guests are optimistic of an improved justice sector devoid of lies. In Abuja, Olusheye Adeagbo, NTA News.
The coalition of civil society and youth groups in Nigeria have commended the Buhari administration for promoting good governance, justice, and meeting the needs of Nigerians through citizen-driven projects. The group, at a media briefing in Abuja, noted that the anti-corruption drive of President Muhammadu Buhari has put to a halt the several acts of financial fraud and secured conviction. It also pointed out that since 2015, the administration has introduced programs and projects such as the Ankabaral Scheme and Livelihood Improvement Family Enterprise, which have made the non-oil sector vibrant.
150 cooperatives are being established nationwide under the community value chain groups, which will have multiply effects to reach millions of people. 1,995,500 youths and 997,500 women for enhanced productivity.
They have been engaged in the agricultural sector, transforming them from idleness to productivity.
Huge investments in sectors such as road, rail, aviation, health, security, and efforts at recovering looted funds, the group unanimously agreed are indications that government is keen to drive the change agenda.
The government of President Muhammadu Buhari have done well. They have done their best to educate Nigeria about coronavirus.
On the coronavirus, the civil group advised Nigerians to remain calm and observe high hygiene practices. And Kene Emagbodike is next with the sports update.
The Nigerian